Where to next? Wonder what we're gonna do now. Go back to Shalian. So, what were you and Richard talking about? Nothing. Very well, if you say so. The others have gone ahead to the High Crucible. Let's catch up to them. First, the attendant was kind enough to give me directions to the High Crucible. First, let us return to the Mulberry Orchard. Look at this cutie. Look at her. I got nothing. Meow. Amount of lunar Bahamut cards I've probably got in this fucking shit. That was the first dungeon. 81. Item level 500. The last item level for Shadowbringers. What's on? 490. Look more done. From here, we're supposed to follow the path left and past the mulberries. Where the street turns, enter the door straight ahead, then descend the steps. The restoring was confusing, but it doesn't compare to routes at hand. Architecture and decorations make it even harder to get your bearings. Anyway, let's see where this door takes us. And here's the Etherology Plaza. So far so good, and there isn't much further to go. From here we just need to cross to the other side of the hall, then pass through the larger of two doorways. Here's what lies beyond. I suspect the others have already collected the warding scales. Come, let us join them. Alright, we're last, of course, but at least we found the place. Oh, the music!
These are the talismans we were promised.
Yes, and I made a quick count. There are far more than we could have hoped for. Enough to outfit an entire company of soldiers, in fact. Considering the involved process, that they were able to manufacture so many in such a short span of time is nothing short of a miracle.
Once we have distributed them to our allies in Eorzea and the Far East, we'll have a fighting chance to bring down the other spires.
Alright.
Or we could use them to invade Garlemald proper, and strike directly at the Telophoroid's base of operations. Of course, we would need to consult with various alliance leaders before such a drastic measure could even be contemplated. To which end, I could set out forthwith and present the idea to each of our allies in person.
Pray allow me to undertake some few of those journeys. I find myself restless and in need of purposeful duties. I can head eastward.
Bosnia and Dalmasca are just a short hop from here. And Doma's shinobi network should come in handy for passing on the word.
We shall share the burden then. Meanwhile, I think it best that you and the others take the talismans back to the Baldessian Annex. We must keep them safe and secure until we've decided upon a course of action.
Please, I must speak with you.
Yes.
Nidana, you're awake.
Yes. When I spoke with the carer at my bedside, she told me that one of the scions, a young woman, had cleansed me of the Tao's corruption. It seems I'd been asleep ever since the treatment. But when I awoke and learned you were all still here, I knew I had to come.
As you said, Nidana was captured only recently. Such a brief exposure is swiftly cured, so I tended to her before we gathered at Megaduta.
And I am truly grateful that you did. I cannot thank you enough. All of you, for everything you've done. Destroying the tower, rescuing our people. You've saved Thavnair from an awful fate.
Yet who hath truly saved whom? Due in no small part to thine inspirational courage, the alchemists were successful in reproducing warding scales of proven efficacy.
I'll put chapstick on.
Replications of thy work now stand ready to travel across the seas, unto the hands of those who might wield them against this rising evil.
The talisman? Is this true? Oh, I was so groggy from sleep. I didn't even think to ask. Oh, our great work sent across the seas. It was worth it. Oh, it was all worth it.
Look at that. Its color is completely changed.
What do you have there?
What a strange flip.
How unusual. I wonder if the effect is a reaction to Akasha.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with that term.
Akasha? It is one of the unseen energies defined by Harnish alchemical theory. Though a gross oversimplification, some describe it as an essence influenced by feelings.
You imply that it is distinct from ether?
Foreign scholars often conflate the two, but we see them as separate concepts. Ether is an energy which permeates the land. It exists within animals, objects, even the air we breathe, affecting all through which it flows. Akasha, on the other hand, exists in a domain beyond our reach. A gift bestowed from on high, or torn from the heavens in some traditions. Akasha can neither be created nor destroyed. It is beyond our power to purposefully alter or manipulate. The only thing observed to influence it is an abundance of, I want to say, spiritual emotion. As As a veteran of the battlefield, surely you've experienced moments of desperation or exaltation when you've transcended the usual limits of your capabilities.
Yeah.
That is a manifestation of Akasha, the invisible essence harnessed by heart, mind, and unyielding spirit.
I really must hear more about this theory. Our disciplines are based entirely upon the idea that ether is the fundamental form of all energy.
I'm glad my haphazard explanation has piqued your interest. But even for us, Akasha is a somewhat abstract field of study. A lack of practical application lends itself poorly to formalized research. Which is why my analysis of your flower can amount to little more than idle speculation. I am sorry.
Nonsense! You have nothing to be sorry for. Your insight is much appreciated.
Shall we depart for Charlian then? I will see to it that the talismans arrive at the annex.
And we will be in touch once our talks are concluded. I suggest you rest while you can. From here onward, sleep is bound to be in short supply.
Fine, I don't need sleep. Okay. Where'd I go? That was mine. Alright, somebody's rocking out. Oh, come on. It's good to be back, and with the fruit of our labor safely in storage. For now, we have but to wait for the others to return from their respective meetings with the Alliance leaders. As Thancred suggested, you should get some rest in the meantime. I suppose so. Welcome back, Ceres. Kral has apprised me of your recent accomplishments. What an amazing feat to eliminate a tower, pave the way to deal with the rest. Well, it isn't much. I've changed your sheets and plumped up your pillow. After all, there's nothing like collapsing in a nice clean bed after completing a major milestone. Be it penning a thesis or defeating deiform entities. Oh, would you like to take a look at your new and improved logics now? Yeah. I got bread too.
Take heart and protect them well.
Good! You're here! You haven't eaten yet, have you?
Girls with their ponytail. Oh my god.
We've bought quite
Cute.
a spread if you're interested. Only the finest dining from the last stand.
Actually looks so cute. Oh my god, the burger. my god, that burger's so big. You should check out the pickles. Oh my god.
Lest you wonder, we invited Estinian as well. But he refused with a rather grim-faced, "No, thank you." I suspect Charlian cuisine is not to his liking.
Oh, I don't know about that. Perhaps our lone wolf just needed some time apart. What? To perfect his brooding stare? Next time, I'll drag him out by the ear, sit him down in front of a Charlian feast, and see that he eats every last bite.
An excellent idea. Of all people, warriors must take proper meals and rest if they are to maintain a healthy constitution.
Poor Estinian, beset on all sides.
Graha's just munching here.
Physical condition, Mistress Cryle. I hear you recently played literal host to Heidelin herself.
And what an experience that was. Tiring, yes, but no lasting harm done. If anything, I should have liked to speak with her longer. I've not felt a hint of her presence since. Heidelin instructed you to carry that flower, yes? Twill be your guide, test and proof of your conviction. And then something about seeking joy in darkness, was it? Come to think of it, isn't that what happened with Nidana back in Radzat-Han?
The flower did seem to radiate a joyful glow, as if reflecting the elation we all felt, the relief of a people with renewed hope.
Still munching.
Indeed. And in turn, I felt buoyed by that radiance. 'Twas akin to spotting a beacon and knowing we were on the right path. I know we've not yet triumphed over the Telophoroi, or learned the full breadth of the Forum's plans. But even within the midst of our struggles, we find small moments of joy to sustain us. Rare and hard-won perhaps, but it is this pursuit of happiness that gives us the strength to carry on day after day. Hey, that's mine.
Swift the spoils. Though I recall that levitation spell of yours was quick enough.
Only barely. And even at my best, I'm still too slow to wield it effectively in battle. Mayhap I simply require more practice with this new magic.
You unearthed it from the depths of Numenon, I presume?
Aye, and from a veritable mountain of arcane tomes at that. 'Twas necessary to facilitate my solitary explorations.
Or, to put it simply, you used it to sneak around the Forbidden Archives.
Yes, well, after a fashion. They're tall, you see. The shelves, they're too tall for me. And I could hardly move the library's platforms without attracting attention now, could I?
Don't worry, I'm there with you, Graha. Graha is pretty short compared to the other Mikolta I see. The moon. Are we pushing on until dawn?
I'm not that ambitious. But 'tis pleasant to idle away the hours every once in a while.
He looks like a pickle.
Enjoying the bracing cold, I see. Do you not own a warm coat or a cloak? Something in fur? Or fashioned from the skins of your enemies? Or... well, never mind that.
Okay.
I come to you once more as the bearer of bad news. Our tower in Thavnir has been toppled. And I need not tell you by whom. Given how many we have at our disposal, the loss of a single spire is hardly fatal to our plans. It does, however, slow the rate at which we siphon ether. If they continue to preoccupy themselves with the towers, then all will be well. But should our foe prove bold enough to strike at us here, then the timing becomes questionable.
Our foe is bold enough. Of that, I can assure you.
Yes, very well then. I suppose I must prepare a proper welcome. Honestly, talk of your nemesis is the only thing you seem to enjoy. Does nothing else spark your interest?
No. All else is... equal. Equally tedious. Equally disappointing. The world is a tepid bog into which we sink, too weak to thrash as the mud clings to our eyes and fills our throats till we blissfully choke. But then came the light, blinding and pure and hot, so very hot, enough to set my soul aflame. I basked in the afterglow, until the void yawned once more. And then I knew the muck would never claim me again. There was naught for me ahead, so I drew the curtain on all that had come before. Burn, burn, let the whole star burn. I will have my contest. I will reclaim my moment.
How wonderful that the emptiness of death has not dissuaded you from committing your life to its pursuit once more. I don't know whether to envy you or pity you.
You question my disinterest, but what of yours? Despite your noisome antics, I sense you take little pleasure in this endeavor.
Mercy, my lord. Such pointed barbs from one who barely acknowledges my existence. Nevertheless, you are mistaken. For I do find this part somewhat enjoyable. You see, when I was mortal, I would always have the same dream. It was a fragmented thing, disjointed, all the faces incomplete. The setting too was unknown to me, so I thought it simply a fantasy of my sleeping mind. Until one day, I realized it was showing me the truth. Much as your dream of the final days enlightened you. And soon, very soon, the rest of the world will see the truth of my dream too. Yes, I think that is something we can both enjoy.
And then on Wings of Hope. They really went out on the they really went all out on the food in that one scene. Oh, there you are. Feeling refreshed, I hope? I'm about to make my way to the studium as it happened. I wanted to try and speak with Scholar Montaigne and thank him for coming to our rescue in the Rostra. Turns out he'd come here to see us following the hearing, only to find that we'd already departed for Thavnir. Knowing him, he was probably hoping to chew the cud with his former students. Since we're still waiting for Y'shtola and the others, I thought now the perfect time to pay him a visit. Can you join me? And it's settled. The twins will be coming too, assuming Alphino can tear himself away from his new toys. I'll let you rally the troops while I go on ahead to Phenomenon. Concerning my recent impropriety, perhaps I should avoid showing my face around the studium for a time. That might be for the best. If the others should return, tell them we will not be long. Look at him practicing. Heading out for a stroll? Sorta. The scholar himself was here. In that case, what are we waiting for? I too am eager to see him, though I somewhat dread the thought of visiting the studium. I dare say our notoriety precedes us. I often know of all people worrying over his reputation, and at our alma mater. No less, will wonders never cease? Well, he'll understand soon enough. Out we go. Boom 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 boom. Here it is, Phenomena. While I expect you made note of it before, one can hardly miss it. First time you've been here on official business, correct? While most of the space is taken up by the expansive auditoriums, it also houses numerous laboratories, testing grounds for experimental magics, and a host of administrative offices and so forth. As the center of what would later become the studium, it was established to promote the study of ethereological phenomena, hence the name. Though the ether being a fundamental aspect of nature, its scope expanded to include every conceivable facet of life and even itself. And then, in the 432nd year of the 6th Astral Era, Phenomenon was decreed complete and the studium officially opened as a place of learning. A long and storied history, it is without question the world's leading authority in etherology, the arcane, the occult, astromancy, and countless other fields. Standing proud as Garleon's foremost educational institute. I always did enjoy giving the grand tour to your two new students. Indeed, I've long since lost track of how many times he has recited that same foppish speech. Such is his undying love for his old stamping ground. He was in top form back then, youngest to enter the studium, graduated with highest honors in magical arts and etherology, disputed champion of the debating chamber. Not people joined the studium at the same age, yes? Where I stand, you're equally prodigious. Nice of you to say, but Alphino actually entered half a year before me. Or did I do well enough to graduate with honors? And I'm certainly not a glorious masturbator. In all respects, have I ever been in the shadow? Nothing else, just remember that this was where the legend of Alpha No Olivier began. You should expect everyone to be fully aware of our recent escapades. Hopefully we'll be somewhat more welcome here than we were in the last stand. I know better than anyone the adoration the student body has for Alpha. With a bit of luck, it might work to our advantage. Well, there's no time like the present. First things first, let's look for Scholar Monteshang. Other faculty tend to frequent their offices, but unfortunately for us, he's fond of wandering wheresoever his whims take him. Let's split up and ask the students if they've seen him. That was Alpha No Olivier, wasn't it? The Alpha No Olivier. He's with his sister and Master Baldessian's granddaughter. This can only mean one thing. An event of epic shattering proportions is fast approaching. Spread the word. Oh, sorry, you said you're looking for the scholar, I guess? Knowing him, he could be anywhere. But Miss Eliapo should have a better idea. Alpha knows quite famous here, huh? Are you lost? Wandering off the street, perhaps? Wait, don't tell me. You're a trainee gleaner fresh off the guild ship. Right, aren't I? How silly of me. You know orientation is in order. Allow me to bid you a warm welcome to Searcher's Meet. Let me start with a question. What is the most important thing you'll find in the studio? Right, books. Second most important. Why, that's simple. Everything else. That's what we deal in here at Searcher's Meet. When students or tutors find themselves in need of equipment or materials, they come to us. If we don't have it in our stores, we send the gleaners off to find it. Honestly, you wouldn't believe some of the requests we get. I have paisa this, tongue of dragon toad that. Enough to make your hair stand on end, which is possibly what some of our students are trying to accomplish. This being a school of magic and all. As our newest gleaner, you'll have your work cut out for you, but I think you'll find it quite rewarding. The only thing I'm interested in gleaning is information on the Scholar's whereabouts. Beg your pudding? Not a gleaner? Then this was all an elaborate ruse? No, wait, come to think of it, you never actually claimed to be one in the first place. Mistake. He was here, but now he's not. I did speak with him shortly before you arrived, though. He said he was on his way to Maker's Meet. Go back the way you came in, and you'll see on the opposite side of it's a laboratory of sorts, home to many rare and expensive curios. Not to mention alarmingly frequent accidents. Lose your way, just follow the blood-curdling screams. The time it's taken for me to tell you all this, the scholar has probably already left. Best of luck finding him. Feeling you'll need it. Alvino surrounded, look at him. He spoke to me, he actually spoke to me. God. I'm sure I'll tell you all about it after my business with the Scholar gets concluded. Scholar, tell me my good fellow, does this have something to do with saving the world from catastrophe? Why we turned our attention to Master Olivia's graduation thesis? I too have my doubts regarding our policy of non-intervention. Is it true that your experiences overseas are the reason that you have incurred the ire of the Forum? Oh, what I wouldn't give to see you butt heads with those old codgers. Oh my god. Very famous, isn't he? Hey, maid. Yes, the Scholar was here a short while ago. He offered me advice on my... Though we spoke at length, I don't recall him mentioning where he was planning to go next. When we parted ways, he went down the corridor, perhaps to one of the auditorium. Unsurprisingly, the Scholar is not in his office. I did, however, speak with one of the students who saw him not long ago, so hands have gone far. There you go, Mont Champagne. What's this one? Cute.
Ah, I remember you.
I pray we have not caught you at an inopportune moment. We wanted to offer our thanks for your kind words in the forum.
Well, I could hardly let that inquisition go unchallenged. I've always believed that curiosity should be nurtured, not stifled. Thankfully, a majority of my colleagues agreed. A slender majority, aye, but a majority nonetheless.
Had the vote not gone our way, we would be having a very different conversation, if any at all. Though I'd like to think you would have not given up on our cause. I'm told you paid a visit to the annex afterwards.
Yes, that's right. I was hoping to speak with the grandchildren of my dearly departed friends Galuf and Louisoix in a less dour setting. But it seems I just missed you. I still can't believe how much you've grown. If only your grandsires could have seen the way you presented yourselves to the forum. Why, it fair brought a tear to my own eye. You must have the patience of a saint, putting up with this lot and their antics. Never mind Matoya's prize student. Luckily, I know a thing or two about managing unruly younglings. If you ever need advice, don't hesitate to ask.
If I may, there is a rather more pressing matter we wish to discuss. What can you tell us of this duty that the Forum must fulfill?
Nothing, I'm afraid. Like all humble servants of the Forum, I am sworn to secrecy.
Damn.
Or rather, I couldn't tell you if I tried. Our duty is of the gravest importance. Furthermore, if the particulars were made public, it would incite widespread panic. As such, those entrusted with this duty have been bound by an enchantment, which prevents us from speaking of such matters without the express permission of the Forum.
Really? Jesus. They really don't want to get this out.
How is that even possible?
It's been some time since I last gave a lecture. Please, take a seat. We shall begin by reviewing the fundamentals of etherology.
Why am I going to school?
The ether, which imbues us with life, can be categorized into three forms. Two are of the incorporeal sort, the soul and the memory. Can anyone tell me the third?
Corporeal ether? I didn't learn this in school.
Yes, very good.
Good thing everything's it's a choice.
This is the form with which the layman is most familiar. Consumed by even the simplest of daily activities, and replenished by the food and drink that sustain us, this form of ether is in constant flux. In contrast, the ether that comprises the soul is rarely subject to dramatic change. The same can be said for memory, as the two are intrinsically linked. Picture the soul as paper, and memories as words written upon it.
Welcome to the hyper. What?
Now, what would happen if that paper was doused with ink? The same type of ether as comprises the memories.
Why did I make it blend in?
It would blot out everything that was written.
Precisely. We would be unable to recall the memories, and any activities that depend upon them would be hindered as well. In fact, this exact phenomenon was observed on a vast scale not so long ago. And what might that have been?
The seventh umbral calamity.
Oh.
The people of Eorzea vividly recall Bahamut breaking free of the Lesser Moon and raining hellfire down upon the realm.
Everybody forgot what happened after.
But no one could seem to remember the events that followed immediately afterwards.
Indeed. To this day, we have yet to determine whether it was an unintended consequence or a deliberate act. The enchantment which binds me and the rest of the Forum is based on a similar principle. And yes, it is a contravention of the Sharlayan prohibition against the practice of memory manipulation.
So literally can't have them remember unless they want them.
Only when a new member is inducted and told of our great duty are they subjected to the process. A necessary evil. You have my word that it would never be used to manipulate the populace?
I should hope not. But can this enchantment be dispelled and your memories restored?
If 9/10 of our members give their approval, then the process may be reversed. Then, and only then, would we be able to speak freely to others of our sacred duty. Barring that, we must wait until we return to the ethereal sea. For there we will be purified, the blots upon our souls washed clean. And our memories drift apart and dissolve, rather defeating the purpose, I suppose. But there are those memories that are indelibly etched upon our souls, some believe.
What happens after that?
We are reduced to pure ether, coalesce with that of others, and create souls anew. Alternative schools of thought assert souls remain whole and return to the corporeal world, reborn into another form. Both theories have their proponents. Personally, I consider each equally probable. Well, I think that's enough education for today. Now that I've given you some food for thought. Or rather, an entire banquet. I would remind you that although I'm unable to assist you with certain matters, the resources at my disposal may still be of use to you. I'll arrange for you all to be given the run of Phenomenon. Of course, as associate to our alumni and the students of Baldessian, this privilege is extended to you as well, my friend.
Hey.
Oh, and I suggest you speak with Ki Aliapo. She's well known among the artisans of Sharlayan, and her network of contacts may prove useful in your search for knowledge.
Oh shit, sorry. Click my next. You've been granted the run of Phenomenon. If you are game, Ki Aliapo would put your artisanry to good use. Well, that's given me much to mull over. I feel as though we're one step closer to understanding the form's true motives and the mysteries of life itself for good measure. It's funny. I came here with the intent of expressing my gratitude and to leave more indebted than before. And fulfilling his friendship and support will be a great boon to us in days to come. On that note, let's head back to the annex. Perhaps on the way you could better acquaint yourself with Ki Aliapo, as a scholar suggested, while I share our findings with Raha. Wait, no. Brum. Raha. Welcome back. From what I hear, your trip to the studio proved most educational. While you were away, I received word from my fellow scions. As expected, news of the warding skills was met with much joy. Preparations are now underway to bring the leadership of the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern together to determine a way forward. Our friends have asked that we bring the scales in our possession to Limsa Lominsa. The time has come for us to go on the offensive. Too early to say for certain, but that does seem to be the way the winds are blowing. I, for one, can think of no reason to oppose such a plan. Let us see what awaits us in Vilbrand. Let's start by getting the scales out of storage. Give me a hand, would you, Estinian? Phew, I didn't realize these crates were so heavy. I shouldn't complain though. Virtua and the alchemists of the great work put their heart and soul into each and every one of these scales, but you must treat them with the utmost care. You're not coming with us? As much as I would like to escape the forum's watchful gaze, I have little choice but to stay behind. We're already on thin ice, and if I, in my capacity as our official representative, found to be consorting with foreign powers, well, they can imagine how that would go. I shall remain here and do my utmost to avoid ruffling any more feathers as I await word from Matoya and other allies. With luck, then have good news for our own to share. The tide is about to turn. I can feel it. Lumza. Lemja. I got so much shit. Deputy Post Mugo. Sage's path. Is Sage here? I was told to expect you. As you may or may not be aware, the Admiral is at present entertaining the Elder Seatsier and the Sultana, three of the most powerful women in the world in one room. Take a moment to prepare, or shall I show you to them? I'm good. My apologies for calling you away from Charlene at such short notice. Contrary, we were honored and grateful, and pleasantly surprised to be joined by such esteemed company. It was only right that this discussion be conducted in person. We are locked in a war of attrition. Forces struggle to contain the threat posed by the towers, and it is only a matter of time before we are overwhelmed. Victory will only be claimed through decisive action. I have taken the initiative to set the wheels in motion. It is reassuring to learn we are all in accord. But might I ask what your plan entails? It hinges entirely on the warding scales and our ability to utilize their potential to the fullest. During your time in Charlian, the allied nations have been engaged on separate fronts with no end in sight. To make matters worse, a surge in abductions of kobolds, Sahagan, Ixal, and Ananta have given rise to an increasing number of primals as well. But your triumph in Radzat Han has given us cause to hope once more. Time has come to free ourselves of this menace. And it is you, the Silence of the Seventh Dawn, who have shown us the way. While the bulk of our forces will continue to hold the Talafor at bay, we will dispatch our finest to strike at the enemy's heart, Garlemald. Ooh. These brave few will be the Ilsabard contingent. I think such progress has been made in such short a span. Its objectives are twofold. The first is to provide aid to the people of Garlemald. There is a reported countless Imperial soldiers and civilians have been tempered. Robbed of their free will, they serve the Talafor's every whim without question. They too are victims. It is our duty to deliver them from their suffering, not for strategic or political gain, but because it is the right thing to do. I do not ask that we set aside the decades of conflict and conquest, but we simply choose to forgive and forget. When I ask that in choosing to remember, we did not ask only that in choosing to remember we did not also forsake our compassion and morality. Without that, there can be no reconciliation, only death without end. Aye, on that we can all agree. Second objective is the Colossal Tower that Thancred and Urian J observed in the capital. Though its purpose remains unclear, there's reason to believe the smaller spires are merely a precursor of what's yet to come. Until the Tower of Zot was toppled, we failed to make any headway. Though the same could be said of the Telophoroi, they're certainly in no rush to press further into our lands. I'd wager the spire's primary purpose is to divide and keep us occupied, while they work towards our annihilation. This would appear to be substantiated by Y'shtola's analysis of the tower's influence on ethereal currents. Based on her observations inside the Tower of Zot, the spires siphon ether from the land, consuming it to maintain their form. However, they draw forth far more than is required for this task alone. The excess of ether remains unaccounted for, but we can be sure it is not being harnessed for our benefit. It wouldn't surprise me if the— oh damn it, I clicked on accident. We'll bring their schemes crashing down, along with their infernal towers. That's all well and good. But what would you have us do? I assume it's more than handing over the scales and being on our way. We want you and your scales to join the Ilzabard contingent. Consider an official request from both the Grand Company of Eorzea and the Eastern Alliance. Accept? Perhaps you should be the one to answer that. Honor and glory. Couldn't have put it better myself. Y'shtola Thancred and Urianger have already pledged their support and are on their way to meet the rest of the contingent. They were positive we would come to the same decision as they did. Luckily for all involved, their prediction was correct. Once you have delivered the warding skills to Alamigo, the contingent will embark on its journey to Ilzabard. Raban and Lord Emmerich are overseeing preparations, so I suggest you make yourselves known upon arrival. Pack warm clothing, furs, and the like. Without it, the cold will do you in before the Telophoroi so much as draw steel. As for us, we'll keep the enemy busy while you're gone. They're not the only ones who can create a diversion. Now go. Safe in the knowledge of Eorzea will be as you left it, or better upon your return.